My beloved Madridistas, welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to Madrid. Okay, I'm going to jump right into it. The match against Celta tomorrow is a must-win situation. Okay, this is a must-win situation, and we need to win, and we need to win big. Okay, because the reason that we have to is because psychology in sports is really, really important. Like a match, normally, historically, a home match against Celta, you would just sort of, clock in, clock out without, making a big effort. You sort of show up with your eyes closed and you walk away sort of 3-0 or 4-1 or something like that. Not this time. If you zoom out and consider the broader context, the way we've been playing, the injury situation, etc., it is vitally important that we win, and we win convincingly, because the real test for this squad is the City match. Okay, if you want to know where this team is from a competitive standpoint, the test is the match against City. And we need to get to that match in the right mental state. We need to play, you cannot play aggressive, assertive football if you're not confident, if you don't believe in what you're doing, and you have to have that level of confidence. So I think the match tomorrow is really important, way beyond the 3 points. If you don't think that psychology is important in sports, why does the home team have an advantage? Like, why does it matter to play at home? Like, in a world that we're sort of arithmetically rational, there would be no difference between playing home and away. But the reason that it does make a difference is that we're not robots. We are human beings. And because we're human beings, we are affected by things, and our state of mind has a massive impact on our performance. I think we need to win tomorrow, and we need to win convincingly. And we need to show up at the City match with belief belief in the system, in our play, and believing that we can win, and to be on the front foot. So I'm going to give you my thoughts on sort of the possible lineup tomorrow. The obvious issues to discuss are, number one, the right back position. Number two, the presence of Joan Martinez, which is really, really positive. And then, of course, just the general issue of sort of minute allocation, injuries, and giving players rest. But thanks for joining me. As always, let me give you guys a couple of thoughts ahead of the match against Celta. Thanks for joining me. Let's get started. Madridistas, welcome back. Okay, before we get started, I obviously have to say thank you, because the response I got to yesterday's video was just so heartwarming. I cannot thank you guys enough for all the comments, all the love you guys throw my way. I'm so grateful. I try to reply to all the comments. I read them all, and I certainly try to reply to them. If I don't get around to all of them, nothing personal, but I'm really, really flattered. So I want to thank you guys, all of you, from the bottom of my heart. Okay, let's talk about the Celta match tomorrow. And okay, I put faces on the thumbnail. Let's see if that helps. But I put Iago Aspas on the thumbnail because he really is kind of a living legend for Celta. He has really become kind of a historic figure. He is the spiritual leader of the squad. He doesn't play that many minutes anymore because, the guy's, 38 years old. But you can be sure that this guy is an absolute legend in Vigo. Vigo, by the way, Celta is also from the north of Spain, from Galicia. These guys are also used to sort of really windy, kind of crappy weather, but also a really, really beautiful part of Spain. They speak, Spain has 6 official languages, actually. So, Spanish is the official one, but there's like 5 others that are officially recognized, and Gallego is one of them. It's kind of like a mix between Spanish and Portuguese, but again, it's in the north of Spain, very beautiful place. But like I say, Iago Aspas is a living legend around there. I'll bet, the guy probably can't cross the street and buy bread without getting mobbed. Okay, now in terms of, to discuss a lineup of Real Madrid, you naturally, by default, have to talk about injuries. And it feels like there's some sort of, curse, because the streak of injuries is really crazy. And I want to address an issue that you guys asked me a lot about, which is all these injuries the last 2 or 3 years, is it the fault of the kind of physical preparation, like the team that sort of does all the kind of physical stuff? Have we changed anything? Is there anything wrong in the way that the players are preparing? Is it our fault that, and I think that the answer is no, it's not their fault. And the reason that I say this is that the majority of the injuries are not muscular. Okay, so if you have a string of injuries that are muscular, so muscle tears and things like that, then I think you can maybe point the finger at the preparation team or the manager because of the allocation of minutes, okay? It means that maybe some players are overplayed, you're pushing them too hard, and that could be symptomatic of that. But the majority of the really bad injuries are not muscular, okay? They are either a result of physical clashes between players. Look at the Carvajal injury. I mean, that was just really bad timing. He was clearing a ball, and the timing was just awful. The other player put his foot in, it destroyed his knee. But so if you kind of think about these injuries individually, they're not. It doesn't seem to me that it's related to preparation. Otherwise, muscular tears, yes. But I think that when these injuries come from just kind of an awkward movement, or it does feel like bad luck. I mean, look at what happened to Trent. It's just like he sort of leaned the wrong way when he was sort of making one of his long passes, but it doesn't, I don't think it was because of lack of fitness or overplaying or anything like that. So my inclination is to think that it is not the fault of the management team. But anyway, in terms of the lineup itself, and look, you know that Xavi lineups are very, very unpredictable, but I'm going to put this lineup up. And this is kind of a default lineup, okay? Like, I admit that, I could be wrong in a lot of these because Xavi has a lot of things to consider. He's got a lot of balls in the air. He's got to think about resting. He's got to think about minutes. He's got to think about keeping players motivated. He's got to think about the City match. So there are a lot of moving parts here, and it makes it very easy to get this wrong. Now, I think personally, I think that Celta is the kind of rival where you can play Asensio as right back. I don't think that Celta is, and you're playing at home, it's not the kind of intense match where you really need to be so careful defensively. I mean, I think that against Celta at home, we look, when we don't play Fede in the middle of the pitch, we feel it. It's just really noticeable. I mean, the way that Fede carries the ball, the way that he helps defensively and helps in transition going forward, the danger that he creates around the box, like as a midfielder, he's just too valuable. I know he's a very good right back, and every time he's played, I think he's done a really good job. And, he absolutely hates it. Now, in interviews, he'll say he doesn't care. He'll do whatever the club wants. He makes jokes. He says, give me gloves. I'll be goalkeeper. I don't care. So, I mean, he'll do it. But I feel, and he does it very well. But I feel that we lose a lot in the middle of the pitch when Fede is not there. Now, for the City match, I do think Fede will be right back. I think against a City, we're going to have to really be very, very protective defensively. And I do think that against City, Fede will play right back. But I think tomorrow there would be no need to do so. I mean, I think Asensio can do it. There's a kid in Castilla called Fortaleza, and he's supposed to be really good. I've never seen him play, but I don't think he'll go as far as that. But I do think that he could play Asensio as right back against Celta at home, and that should be okay. But again, Fede is a box-to-box player. He's a magnificent box-to-box player, and I just think we really miss him when he's not in the middle of the pitch. Okay, in terms of the midfield, Camavinga is, okay, he sort of sprained his ankle. I don't think he's going to play tomorrow, but I think he will be back, or at least available for the City match. Now, I get the feeling that Xavi really wants to give Tchouaméni a rest. Tchouaméni's been playing an enormous amount of minutes. I get the feeling that he really, really wants to give Tchouaméni a rest. But now that Camavinga's injured, there's no other midfielder that has those characteristics. So, like, when if you sit Tchouaméni and play Camavinga, like they have similar characteristics. They're very physical, they're tall, they're good in the air, they're quick, they're strong, they defend very well, they know how to break up play, they're good in 50-50 challenges. The other midfielders just don't have those characteristics. So I think he doesn't want to start Tchouaméni, but I think he might have to because, he might play Ceballos, but Ceballos is a much, much softer player, okay? He's more offensive, he likes to dribble more, he likes to carry the ball more. He just doesn't have the kind of defensive grit that you get from a Tchouaméni or a Camavinga. So anyway, I mean, he could surprise us because Xavi loves to surprise us. But, I think Tchouaméni will probably play. I think Fede should be in the midfield. Like I say, I would certainly want to see that. And then I think Arda will come back. I think you'll see Arda back. And I think, Jude will be there too. Now, Xavi could do something crazy and try to come out with a 4-3-3, like it's a home game against Celta, let's party. I mean, it's possible, but I don't think so. And the reason I don't think so is that one of the problems in our play has been lack of consistency, okay? And I think that a lot of it has to do with the constant changing of lineups, formations, and I think that we need to stop that. If the 4-4-2 has been effective recently, let's stick with it. And I think it would be a mistake to go back to a 4-3-3 just because you want to get some players in, just because you want to give minutes to the Rodrigos and Mastantuonos. I think that would be a mistake. The 4-4-2 is working. It makes us more solid in the middle of the pitch. It gives us more balance. I think we need to continue with that. That's just my personal opinion. Now, I also get the feeling that he really wants to give minutes to Rodrigo and Mastantuono. And if there is a surprise, because he definitely, by the way, definitely wants to rest Kylian. I know that he wants to rest Kylian. I think tomorrow, if we're two goals ahead at any point, I think Kylian sits immediately. I know that he would like to give Kylian some rest. Vini, maybe as well, but maybe less so than Kylian. I mean, because Kylian literally is playing every single minute. So you could get a surprise because I know that he wants to give minutes to Rodrigo and Mastantuono, even Brahim, but this is the lineup that I sort of my brain defaults to. But like I say, there are a lot of balls in the air, and he has a lot of issues to manage, so it just makes it very, very hard to predict. Okay, I also want to talk about Joan Martinez because this is a center back that's coming up from. By the way, he was the one that was last year when we wanted to bring someone from Castilla. It was supposed to be Joan Martinez. It wasn't supposed to be Asencio. Asencio from out of here was like the third choice, but Joan Martinez was the one that everybody was talking about. The press here was, you could hear it. I've never seen him play. Like I can't tell you much about him, but I know that he's the one that had the most buzz around him. So I'm really, really happy to see that he's at least, available to play. I doubt very much he'll start him. I think that would be kind of a pretty ballsy thing to do. And maybe the kid is capable of doing it, but I would be a bit surprised. However, don't be surprised if we do see Joan get a few minutes maybe towards the end of the match, which is sort of I think would be really, really positive. The last thing that I want to leave you guys with was there was an interview with Fede Valverde, and he said something that I kind of really liked, and he said that before the match against Celta de Vigo, in the dressing room, all the players kind of came together and hugged, and he one of the players gives like a little speech to sort of inspire everyone else, and apparently it was, we are better than this. We are better than this. And let's show the world who we are. We are better than this. And I was really kind of happy to hear about that because these players want to perform. These players are hungry to perform, and they know that they can do better. And I think that their mindset is they want to prove to the world, and all the criticism and all they want to dispel this because they know they're better. They know they can perform better. But I think the attitude and the will is there, and I thought that was a really, really positive thing. Okay, I'm not gonna be able to do a post-match analysis. I think I mentioned this because I'm going off to celebrate my uncle's birthday, and he has a dinner every year, and it's great. I wouldn't miss that for the world. So I won't be able to give you guys a post-match analysis of Celta, but the Man City match, you guys are going to have fun because I'm going to start doing the shorts, and I think some of them. One of you guys gave me a brilliant idea, which I have to thank you for this. He said, you talk about your uncle all the time and how much he knows about Real Madrid, and he's 83 and he's been watching Real Madrid since before we invented fire, and he said, why don't you have, a segment called The Uncle's Corner? Like 15, 20 seconds before and after the match, my uncle's sort of first reaction and predictions before the match. I think it's a brilliant idea, so we're going to do that. So I won't be able to analyze the Celta match for you afterwards, but we're going to have a lot of fun with the City match. Okay, that's it. Thank you guys so much for all the comments, all the support, and the messages. I love you guys. Thanks for joining me as always. Love you all, and as always and forever, a la Madrid.